Hey, what's goody? It's your boy Zach. Just wanted to take this video. I've been meaning to make it for a while now, actually, but just wanted to talk about, how I've left Tulsa and just do like one more final review. After being in that program, living in Tulsa, Oklahoma for over a year, coming from Atlanta, Georgia, joining the Tulsa remote program. Yes, I did get paid the full $10,000. I had some great experiences, was able to meet some really cool people, and would I change anything about it? Sure. I mean, there's some things I would have done differently, but overall, I think you know I'm fine with how things left off, and I'm fine with like closing that chapter and moving to a new chapter. But this video is really just number one, to give a quick life update, and then number two, just to give a little bit of context around what Tulsa Remote really was for me. And like, if you're anything like me, you should probably take a listen to this video before you either commit to doing Tulsa Remote, or B, decide to stay in Tulsa long term. So I mean, that's a little bit about why I'm making this video. First and foremost, I know it's been a minute since I made a video, but I'm getting ready to get back on a very, very consistent posting schedule. Like, I'm talking about like all the way down to a specific time even. Like, I wanna get very consistent with my posting, because I love doing this. Like, it's cool, like the interactions, and then also just being on here and being able to express myself in a different way. I think that's pretty dope. So again, I did leave Tulsa. I'm now in Raleigh, North Carolina. So if you're in North Carolina, or you know anybody in North Carolina, definitely hit me up, because I don't even really know that many people out here. I'm gonna keep it real. Same way I didn't really know anybody when I moved to Tulsa. I moved in recently with my girlfriend, so we're kind of taking that next step. And we got a really nice place up here in North Hills, if you know the Raleigh, North Carolina area. But anyway, that's a little bit about me in terms of what I'm going to be doing. Definitely be on the lookout for new content from me. I decided that I wanted to do three types of content, after like analyzing some of the stuff that I've done in the past, and just like being able to look at it for what it is, and then also just like knowing myself. I want to talk about sales, obviously. I mean, everybody knows me for like mostly my sales content and my Tulsa remote content. Obviously, the Tulsa remote stuff is coming to an end, so I won't be talking about that much more at all. This will probably be the last time I even really speak on it. So definitely pay attention to this video when I get into that. But the three categories I want to talk about: sales slash investments and stuff like that I might periodically sprinkle in there. Number two, I want to talk about MMA. I absolutely love MMA. Anybody who knows me knows that I love MMA slash kickboxing slash Muay Thai slash Jiu-Jitsu. Like, this is all stuff that I feel very passionate about. This is the main stuff that I focus my time and energy on, like from a hobby standpoint. And then also I do train as well. So I'm going to start making content, and I'm going to build a studio in here. So this will be like I'll just show like a little bit of 360 view, you know what I'm saying? So this is like my office room. So it's like a smaller den, I guess is what they call these. But I'm going to convert this into like a studio, and I'm going to start talking about obviously MMA, sales, and then lastly, when I travel, I'm going to start doing travel vlogs too, because I do have a GoPro. If there's any GoPro wizards out there, definitely tap in with me. Let me know if you're like really good at producing GoPro content, because this is definitely something that I'm going to start doing here soon. Because I just like, personally, I think that type of content just goes crazy. Like, it's just really cool to watch, like, from that perspective, when people are just like walking through the streets in different countries, or like, just doing different explorations with GoPro. So I'm going to make a page exclusively for these three things. So it's not all going to come from this page. This page is going to be, exclusive for my sales content, things that are truer to me as like a professional. I'll even give like certain career advice just based on experiences that I've had. Excuse me. And then on Sales Lord MMA, plain and simple, I'm going to be talking about MMA. and then Sales Lord Travel, you get it, right? So anyways, enough about that. You guys are caught up with me. Tap in with me, give me a call, give me a hit me up on Instagram. Don't call me, but hit me up on Instagram or whatever, and we'll connect. LinkedIn, that works too, if you guys want to talk. But time to get into my final review of Tulsa Remote. Like, this is everything that I've ever wanted to say about Tulsa Remote. Some of this is probably a little bit repetitive for anybody who's been just like following my content from the beginning, but I have to just say it all. Like, I mean, if there's anything that you guys have probably already realized about the stuff that I make, none of it's like scripted or like highly edited. I suck at editing. This is not really that. It's really just a guy from, the internet who had a dope experience and is like trying to give people some game and some advice based on that, right? So, all right, Tulsa Remote. Number one, I'm just gonna keep it simple with like an overall rating. Tulsa Remote / living in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So just from my year and some change living there, I would give it a solid 6. A solid 6 out of 10. There's sometimes where it felt more like an 8. There's sometimes where it felt like a 3.5. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna come clean, like all the way clean. It's a challenging environment for somebody who, for anybody. I don't want to isolate anybody. It could be a challenging environment just because it's so different, right? Like if you didn't grow up in that area, or if you didn't know like a lot of people in that area, you have to be on point. And you have to like consciously make a decision every day. Like, I'm going to get out there and do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to make it a goal to do this. I'm going to connect with this person. I'm going to, so it's a little bit of a grind in that sense. But what I've learned is like the people who are out there are pretty much all out there for a reason, especially the younger people. Now there are like other families and things like that. So, I mean, for people who are moving out there with a family, it might be a little bit better, because there's a lot of beautiful suburbs in Tulsa. Like, that's one thing I'll tell you right now. Tulsa is super underrated if you want to build a family and just have like a nice little suburban lifestyle. It's actually really safe out there, and a lot of people talk about like the crime rate and stuff like that because of what you see on First 48. For me, I didn't really see it that way. I've lived in Atlanta, I've lived in Norfolk, I lived in Richmond, I lived in Petersburg, Virginia. Like anybody who knows anything about these places, it's high crime. Like I've experienced crime. I've experienced different types of violence throughout my life, and I never felt any of those vibes in Tulsa. On the very positive side, I always tell people this: you'll never find nicer people. Like, on God, you won't find nicer people. People that you can just talk to at any given time. You'll strike up a conversation with somebody very randomly, and it all feels organic. Like, it feels like people actually care about you. Like, they fuck with you. Like, they'll take the time to like ask you certain questions that like it kind of caught me off guard. It took me a while to get used to. So I did build some like some genuine connections through just being myself, and that worked out for me. And then in terms of Tulsa Remote as a program, they did a really good job in terms of like constantly putting on events, making it really easy and accessible to get like game tickets to this, tickets to that. Like, they were always pushing something in order for you to get out there and do your thing and have fun. And I mean, I'll say that like as somebody who's younger and like I'm not married yet, don't have kids yet, there's definitely a lot of drinking that goes on. I feel like in Tulsa in general, there's a little bit of like a, kind of like a cowboy western type of culture that's now been kind of influenced with like a modern day hipster type of vibe too. It's a really unique place. Like, I'll say that. It's a really unique place. But the reason why I say all that is it's really fun, and there's so many ways that you can get ahead, but there's also so many ways you can fall behind too, So it's like you gotta really take care of your mental health. You gotta really take care of yourself. And if you know anybody who's living in that type of environment, not that it's a bad environment, that's not what I'm saying at all. It's just a new environment. if you're coming from places that I've come from, a whole lot different. Just tap in with them, check in with them, because it's seriously a challenging thing to put yourself out there like that. And it's something that a lot of people probably won't understand, because they had never really challenged themselves to do something new and to really push the limit of who they are as a person. And that's what Tulsa kind of did for me. It forced me to really come out of my shell and to put myself in situations that I had not been in before. I would say, like, in terms of very specific groups and things to get involved with, if you're anything like me, meaning like you care about sales, you care about business networking, you care about trying to build wealth, you care about trying to put yourself ahead in life with smart investments, networking with the right type of people, for that, I would definitely say get involved with First Fridays, which is like a networking, I would say, I don't even know what to call them. So I'll just give the full breakdown. So there's a group called Atento Capital. I guess this is a shout out for them. I mean, this was not really supposed to be that, but I really enjoyed going to their little First Friday events. I'm not gonna say they're little. That's kind of, you know what I'm saying. It's real deal mixers that they put on, and that you'll meet all types of startup entrepreneurs, professionals, and then just cool people that are there to to get in the mix as well, and it'll help you really get plugged in. So I definitely give a shout out to Atento Capital First Friday mixers. I would also try to get involved a little bit with the art scene. There's also like a very grassroots music scene as well in Tulsa, so it's easy to like always catch like a live show. Even like I went to like a jazz festival at Good Three Greens. If you don't know what that is, make sure you look up Good Three Greens. It's definitely a good little vibe on the weekends if you just want to like relax with your girl or your man, whatever. I would definitely say that. I would definitely continue to get involved with all of Tulsa Remote's events. They always put on something new. Like they did like a Christmas thing when I was there. There's a ton of fun stuff to do. Like if you want to party, like I put myself out there with, I think there's this thing called Boulder Dash, freaking Sip and Slide. Like almost every weekend downtown is pretty much like a party. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that part kind of caught me off guard. I knew that there is like a big college presence out there in Tulsa, with UT, and I think Oklahoma State has a campus out there. It's just all types of young people. Like, I'm 28 myself, but I'm talking about like there's actually like a lot of college type of vibes downtown. So be aware of that too. If you're not into that, like, just be aware. If you want to live downtown almost every weekend, you're going to like experience that type of vibe. Like, it's gonna be loud. There's stuff going on. I don't know what happened like over the course of the past year, from the time I moved to Tulsa to the time I moved out and I'm here in Raleigh now. Tulsa turned up like 2 or 3 notches from a party standpoint. Like it'd be lit out there. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's all right. If I was into that at this stage in my life, like if I was really focused on that, I would have had a great time out there, with the partying and stuff like that. But there's also more mature, relaxing vibes on the other side of the bridge, like on the Greenwood side of the bridge. Definitely places where you can go and relax, maybe have a cigar, have some cocktails, have some good food. I'll say that, there's still a lot of development going on with, different restaurant groups and trying to get, that thing situated from a standpoint of like diversity and having different options. Because when I first moved there, I used to always kind of poop on the restaurant scene. Like I'd be like, there's not enough restaurants. So I mean, that became a real negative real fast, because at a certain point you start going to the same places over and over and over and over and over, just because you know it. And it got to the point where I was going to damn Panda Express all the time, because I'm just like, man, I don't feel like fooling with any of these restaurants, But what you start to learn is you have to like kind of turn over every stone, because they do have some solid eats out there. It's just a matter of going out and finding them. Like, it takes work. I mean, a few off the top of the head, and keep in mind I moved out like 2 months ago, so it's a little foggy, but I would say one that comes to mind right away was Lone Wolf, Que Gusto. Those are really cool. Definitely look up Mr. Kim's. I thought that was a really cool concept. There's a few others. Maybe I'll drop a list in the actual description of like maybe like a top 5 restaurants from my time there. But you kind of just have to get out. I mean, it's not gonna be easy. Like, I've lived in some bigger cities where there's just so many cool and dope restaurants that you kind of take it for granted. But out there, you really have to do some planning and stuff like that. So it's a little bit of a drawback. A few more things that I'll say about just living in Tulsa from a weather standpoint. Like, it really is extreme, and I talked about this from some of my other videos, but it does get old after a while, because when you're not like planning for it, when you're not thinking about it constantly, it can put you in a tough situation, because like you actually have to plan based on the weather. So like in the wintertime, it can get dumb cold. Like, it can get crazy cold. But in the summertime, there will be like 5-10 day stretches where it's 100 plus. So you really have to be willing to deal with that, to the point where like certain days in the summertime, I didn't even want to leave the house. Like, I swear on my life, there's certain days I didn't even leave the house, just because I knew what was going on. I knew automatically as soon as I stepped out there, it's gonna feel very similar to if you were to stick your hand in the oven with like, you might even have an oven mitt on, but you can start to feel it up on your forearms when you're reaching in there. Like, that's actually what the stuff feels like out there. The weather feels like out there. So if you're not willing to deal with that, if you want like a more mild and consistent climate, definitely don't move to Tulsa at all. I'll say another part of Tulsa that was lacking just a little bit was, I would say like the natural outdoors type of scene. I mean, there's like walking trails and things like that. We have obviously Riverside Drive and that whole area by the Gathering Place. I mean, it's a cool place to go on walks and things like that. But I never really saw that many compelling. Turkey Tail Mountain or whatever, I guess, is pretty dope too. But like, compared to other places that I've lived with, like endless walking trails and things that you can do that are more off the grid type of vibes, Tulsa doesn't really have that quite as much, in my opinion. Don't, like the keyboard warriors, like, don't come after me if you feel like I'm dissing Tulsa's wildlife or whatever the hell you might want to call it. This is just my opinion. If you think it's not a good opinion, cool. You can take it with a grain of salt. But I just kind of wish there was more there. So I know a lot of people will go to like Arkansas or any of like the surrounding states, or even areas in Oklahoma outside of Tulsa have better options there. But for me, it just felt like there wasn't that many options, which kind of made it a little boring. From a gym standpoint, I'll say that you can find great gyms in Tulsa, and now Tulsa Remote is even doing like this program. I forget what it's called, but one of my friends was a part of it, and now I guess they're rolling it out for the entire Tulsa Remote, where they're paying like $500 for health and wellness programs per month or something like that. Maybe it was $200 per month. I'm not sure, but what I do know is people are getting paid, in order to invest into, their mental and physical health. So there's a ton of really cool gyms out there. Personally, I was going to Crunch Fitness for like my general fitness. Also was training Muay Thai a little bit, Forza Combat Sports, and Primate Jiu-Jitsu, obviously for Jiu-Jitsu. So definitely some options like that. Relatively high level instructions if you're into martial arts whatsoever. And in terms of like, I guess my final summary, if I could go back and redo I guess if I could go back and do it all over again, I guess what I would tell myself is, number one, I probably wouldn't have stayed downtown. I probably would have moved like further towards like the midtown area, just because downtown, towards the end, kind of became a lot. Even though it was highly entertaining, it was pretty dope overall. But like, if I could have just been a little bit further from that, and then kind of force myself to be a little bit more disciplined about my lifestyle, that would have been better for me. And then also, I was gone a lot, right? So I did a lot of traveling, and I wish I would have looked into what it was like flying out of like a secondary market airport, meaning like, Tulsa's not really a major airport hub or anything like that in comparison to Atlanta. So I never really had that many direct flight options. A lot of times I was having to fly to Dallas, or I would even have to sometimes drive to Dallas to save money on a direct flight, right? So there's a whole bunch of stuff that was kind of a pain in the ass with that from a travel standpoint. And I wish I would have thought about that prior to moving there, because sometimes it really was a pain. Like, it was highly painful. And then I guess on a positive note, I'm kind of all over the place with this video. So if it sucks, whatever, I'm still going to put it out. I guess from a positive perspective, like, there were so many cool people that I feel like I probably had the chance to like build even deeper connections with, but I just didn't get the chance to make those investments, right? So I mean, that means waking up a little bit earlier, going to 36 Degree North, going to different gyms, getting even more involved with like local events and things like that. Like, if I could do it all over again, I would definitely make those investments, because there's really not that many. There's not much cooler ways to meet people than being a part of a group like this. So don't take it for granted. I mean, the time goes by hella fast. Like, for me, it went by so fast, and I still feel like there's more that I could have done in that 1 year time frame. So even though 1 year sounds like somewhat of a long time, it's not at all, bro. Like, that shit goes by super fast. So I guess that's the main things that I'll say. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off here. I'm probably just gonna post this raw, unedited, just no cuts, nothing. So make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment. Keep in mind, be on the lookout for the announcement. I'm gonna be uploading to 2 other channels as well. So it's gonna be this channel, Sales Lord MMA, and Sales Lord Travel. Definitely follow those if you feel so obliged. But yeah, it's been real. It's been dope. I'm gonna continue making content, probably on like Wednesdays and Fridays, but we'll see. I'll definitely let you guys know, like, on a consistent basis, like, when the content's gonna come out. But yeah, I mean, if you have any other questions about Tulsa Remote, like where you should live, whatever, I posted a ton of other videos on this, so this is more of just like a final recap. Watch those. If there's anything that you still have questions about Tulsa Remote, being black in Tulsa, being from Atlanta or from Virginia, whatever, wherever you're from, and you're curious about what that transition is like, hit me up. Peace.